If the world is noisy and getting noisier, you need to create content that has standout content quality. Maybe even live streams, webinars, or virtual events. And we also know that it's a waste if people don't show up for your content, right? Well, if you are a little baffled trying to stay on top of the new world of AI, you are in the right place. Hello and welcome to AI for Content Entrepreneurs. My name is Roger Corville and welcome to another episode of Thought Leader Conversations, sponsored by the crew at Virtual Venues, where you can instantly scale your event production team, which is a bit like hiring someone to just get your manuscript turned into a book so you can focus on the things that are most important to you. But not about V2 today. I'm here and excited to welcome someone that I know is brilliant because we've had sushi together. Well, more importantly, we share a professional community at National Speakers Association where we're both certified speaking professionals, which is NSA's highest earned designation. But Terry is also a CPAE, which is a peer-voted award that's the Hall of Fame of professional speaking. Terry Brock brings a passion for technology, a sense of history, and real-world business strategies for success to on-site and online events as a speaker and facilitator. Welcome, Terry Brock.
Roger, it's great to be with you. Let's create some magic today.
I think that sounds like a wonderful thing. Let's start with a definition. Content entrepreneurs. That's how you've been positioning some of your latest efforts. What do you mean by content entrepreneurs?
Well, I got that term from Joe Polizzi, a guy that has done a lot with content marketing. And we can talk about content creators, wonderful people. You and I be part of that. We are content creators. We create text, audio, video, pictures, and other ways of communicating our message to others. We create content. But a content entrepreneur is just a little bit different, does that as well, but running a business. We're running a business and we're using content to make money. We want to be able to do that. We're entrepreneurs. We want to get it out there in the form of the video we create. Usually that's going to be on YouTube, but many other platforms as well. Ecamm you're using right now. Hey, you and I, once again, have so many things in common. Yep, love an Ecamm. I love what the guys are doing with that and making it happen. Audio, hey, we both go back in audio and radio, as I was mentioning to you before we started doing the recording. I started in radio when I was 17 over the Family Life broadcasting system, WUNN 1110 on your AM dial from Mason, or WUFN 96.7 on the FM dial from Albion, Michigan, the voice of the Family Life broadcasting system. And I still remember that stuff. So we're using that, but a content entrepreneur is someone that says, let's take all that fun stuff that we're doing with creating content that's really good, and let's turn that into business. Let's make the world a better place by helping other people in a monetary, free market kind of way.
So talk to me about how AI can help you create high quality content faster.
Well, that's a really good question because AI does do that. It's pretty amazing. You and I have been around technology long enough, Roger. We know there's a lot of cool stuff that's happened, but this one is literally that groundbreaking, trailblazing, oh my goodness, jaw-dropping, wow kind of moment. And it's not just hyperbole. It gives us the ability to tap into sources that we didn't even know we could do. Like, for instance, in getting content, one of the biggest things, as you know, is when we're sitting down in front of the screen, we're going, okay, deadline's coming up. I got to get something. What am I going to talk about? We can come up with something, but then the real key is, what am I going to talk about that people will go, hey, I want to see what Roger's doing. I'm going to click on that one. I'm going to listen. Because right now, I don't know about you, Roger, but I put out way too many pieces on YouTube or podcast or whatever that I thought was just dandy. Oh boy, by golly, this one's going to be great. And it's crickets. I think both people that listened to it really liked it, and so it's like, what do we do? Well, that's where AI comes in. Because the AI will get out there and it'll say, okay, give me an idea you got. And I'll type it out. I use a tool called TubeBuddy. And there's a lot of tools out there. That's one I use that works with YouTube. And I'll type in what I think is going to be a good title. And then AI will do some searching out there and it'll say, okay, on a 0 to 100 scale with a little meter, it'll tell you this one is at an 80 or a 90 or a 20 or a 100 or whatever it'll be. But it's not just my gut. too often in the past, I've done things where I go, well, my gut tells me that they want a video on doodly woodlies. Well, doodly woodlies wasn't hot that day. And so, as much as I thought it was going to be great, well, my gut was wrong. But when you go out there and you have literally hundreds of thousands or millions of data points that you can check with AI, it'll come back and say, most people that are in your market that are following this topic like this about this much or that much, which gives you feedback to put in an extra word, pull out a couple words, tweak it a little bit, and it says, here are related articles. So you click on that and you go, oh, look at all these other videos that are out there that are using similar titles. And oh, look at this one right here. It came in with a bazillion views. Exact number, by the way, the bazillion number right here. The other one's down here, not quite as good there. So you can start adding extra words to the mix until it comes in. And then it also does this. It says this is a weighted or unweighted average. The weighted average says we're also going to factor in other competitors on how you're going to stack up against other people that are going into the same market, talking about basically the same contest. The unweighted would be if you're saying, I'm just sending this out to my list. They know me. They're more likely to click because they like me. And I know this is a hot topic for them, even though it's not very hot for the rest of the world. And that's okay too. But that's where AI is helping us. And it gives us a lot of ideas. Here's something we don't want to do though. And I think you might agree with me on this. Tell me what you think. Many people, I've seen the views on YouTube, they say, hey, with Chat GPT, you just type it in, it'll give you the information, you copy it, and then just paste it into your blog, paste it into your my sentiments exactly. It's like, no, 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 do not do that. If you do that, a pox be upon you, because you're hurting yourself. You want to have something that you see that, and that gives you an idea to go, hey, that reminds me of that story that I had, the thing that happened to me last March when I was there in that class, and I heard this. Let me tell you that story. That's how I think it should work. What do you think, Roger?
Well, I think we could talk for an hour on just that. And I want to get back to some of the tools that you've used. What you just described with TubeBuddy, and I've heard others like our friend Phil Gerbishak recommend TubeBuddy, and I had a similar experience for me. First time I went to ChatGPT, given that I've been in this space for 24 years, I type in something fairly generic like, how should I engage an audience at a virtual event, right? And the first thing is that I have an oh crap moment because, I spent a lot of years writing 500 blog posts at thevirtualpresenter.com. And here in 13.2 seconds, it whips out 7 things that I swear it could have ripped off from me. But to your point, it was generic, right? Here's the example or the analogy that I would use. When you go to somebody's blog and you can kind of tell the difference between someone who has the nuance of an expert and they're speaking with a voice versus when that was just content churned out by some junior Marcom person who's kind of like following the paint by numbers. That's what you don't want to do. If you want to have standout quality, you're going to have to bring your own voice to it. But to your point, with regard to staring at that blank page going, what am I going to do? Brainstorming or generating ideas, or I was working on something for a healthcare client the other day and I typed in something and one of the 4 bullet points that it brought up when I said, hey, what are the biggest challenges in this sector of the healthcare industry? One of the 4 points that they brought up was one that I hadn't thought of. So I didn't copy and paste their content. I'm just going, oh, dang, if ChatGPT thinks that is an important point, then I should probably address it. And of course, trying different tools, right? ChatGPT, Bard. I also use HelloScribe, which is one kind of geared to marketers. And I would love to hear more of the kinds of tools that you use. But when we're talking about high quality content faster, I think that the high quality still comes from your own voice, right? And particularly, you made this point earlier, and I'm going to put an exclamation point on it because it was a killer point. You said, you talked about, I think, you said that there was going to be this explosion of content. I don't remember if it was when we were talking before this or earlier in this conversation. But one of the things this is going to do, because it makes it easier, is the world's going to get noisier because it's easy for anybody to whip out something, let alone when somebody figures out how to string a few tools together, because there are AI tools that will auto-publish to your WordPress site, and tools that'll create content, and tools that'll take that content and turn it into a video, and tools that'll take that video and publish it to YouTube. And somebody's going to string it all together. And next thing you know, you're going to have a blog that starts churning out content that's just noise. And I think keeping the humanity is going to be critical in terms of building an audience, my humble opinion.
Absolutely. And actually, that's where you'll get a competitive advantage. I'm saying this to all the content creators out there, the content entrepreneurs. What you want to do is you use this as a first step. Let ChatGPT be treated like one of the metaphors I've heard really good as a copy assistant. You think of a copy shop where they're really writing a lot of copy. That's how they get paid. They write copy. You have copy assistants that turn in their drafts, their ideas, their suggestions, and it goes to the copy chief. And that copy chief is getting all of this information, blending a little bit of what Mary said with what April said over here and with what Bob said, mixing it together, putting in her own ideas as the copy chief and saying, this is what we're going to do, and putting out something that just sparkles because it's got the best of many different areas, but yet it has a unique flavor and the unique voice tone that you want for this particular application. This client wants it done like this versus this client over here, they want it a little different. Okay, that's good. And you can do that. Let these things be the tools that they are, realizing, hey, they're pretty good, but you want to make sure that you're putting your own feeling, your own voice into it to make sure that it's not just a direct copy and paste.
That, my friends, is something you should rewind and listen to again. Because what Terry just did was actually bring some of his own journalism background to bear on the issue in a way that'll touch down for you. And I'm just going to catch you doing something right here, Terry. You're right. Yeah. What's that senior copy chief or editor going to do? They're going to make sure the voice is right, the tone is right, it matches the corporate voice or the editorial position of the magazine or whatever that is. And that is something, at least at the moment, that AI is not going to do for you.
Yeah, exactly. And then you blend that together using your expertise. And matter of fact, one of the things I would suggest is using more than one tool. We know that ChatGPT is a great tool. I love it. Use that, but it's not perfect because we've seen it come up. And the reason it's not perfect, well, duh, it's like it's coming from the internet. It'd be like if I said, well, Roger, I know this has got to be right because I found it on the internet. Isn't that great? You'd be going, Terry, what, it's a joke we use. Well, guess where ChatGPT is getting its information from there. So one of the principles we learned in journalism is you don't accept one thing because someone says, well, this is what's happening today. You guys go back and start writing it down. Hey, this is what's happening because I talked to Burf Schnurfelmoffer and Burf Schnurfelmoffer knew what he's a nice guy. Writing it down, that's good. You want to get minimum of three non-corroborating sources saying something about this. And if you start hearing it from this person and that one, and they're non-corroborating, they don't know about each other, then you got something that we call a trend. That looks pretty good. It looks reasonable. We can still be deceived by three or more, but at least you got a little more security that way. So I would use other tools as well. One that I like is Perplexity. Perplexity.ai, great little tool because it gives you a few advantages that we don't have with ChatGPT, but I like using the two together because I'm going to get a couple of different ideas, a couple of different angles on there, and there are many other tools out there, more coming out all the time. Find two, maybe three that will work for you. You could bring in 15, but then that gets to be too much. I mean, you can go too far. Again, the advantage is going to be in the right number for you. I found 2 to 3 tools for writing tends to work pretty well for me. What are your findings on that, Roger?
Yeah, I think one of the things that any new medium does is begins to elevate a different type of art form, right? And for the more broad brushstroke tools, you've got to become an artist at writing good prompts to be able to get what you want out of it. Particularly, like for instance, if you want to use an image editor like Dolly or is it Mid Journey, right? You've got to
Yeah,
learn,
Midjourney.
right? You just go type something in, it'll generate an image for you. But if you really want to dial it in, you've got to get better and better at writing prompts. And to me, if there's one thing that some of the many, I mean, there's, I don't know, 1,000 tools out there now, but one of the things that some of the other tools do is they make some presuppositions that help you get what you need, right? And I'll just use Hello Scribe as an example. It's an all right tool, but one of the things that I think it does pretty well is you can go tell it to create a social media post, whether that's a LinkedIn post or a tweet or a tweet series, and it will auto kick things out for you in a format that's appropriate for the channel through which you're going to communicate. And most of the time it doesn't come camera ready. It needs some
Hmm.
tweaking, but
Sure.
it takes a bunch of time out of the process, which I think probably is a distinction between content generation and then the content formatting or reformatting. If you write it once and publish it 15 times, you probably don't want to publish exactly the same thing to every social media channel. You probably want to treat them with their own nuance, is one
Yes.
example. But so I've begun combining tools so that I can use a tool for what it does well. And I'm sure there's probably even something better than a Hello Scribe. It just happened to be something I picked up off AppSumo at one point for pretty inexpensive. And I'm like, dang, they're onto something here.
Mhm. Yeah, and Roger, I think you hit on something that's very important right there. Things are changing so fast, literally every day. And I'm not being too hyperbole there. Every day we're seeing new tools coming. We've had about 1,300 tools come out since November of last year when ChatGPT had their big event. I don't think there's anyone on the planet that knows all 1,300 new tools that have come out since then really well. No, you can't, but you want to keep your radar up and be willing to change and adapt and look at what's good for you right now for the tools that you want to get, that you want to use. This is going to be the key. So we keep adjusting, and it's driven by the overall idea of creating content that solves a problem for our market. Is that blog that I'm writing, is it going to help someone solve a problem? That video, does it solve a problem for them? Does it give them information they need? Does it make them laugh? Do they see it as funny and they need that entertainment? They've had a down day, they want something that's going to be funny. Do you find something that's going to help them? That's what you want to do. And I think if we have that kind of a filter, we're going to do much better. Too often we say we're overwhelmed with all this. I like the way Clay Shirky said it so well. He said the problem is not information overload. The problem is filter failure. And what we have to do is get those filters that are right for us, customized for what we're doing. And then it comes in and go, oh, new object, new object. Oh, new goodie, new goodie. This one doesn't quite do, it's good, but it's a B minus for me. And this one here, B plus, those are the toughest. B plus, you want to aim for the A plus and the A's according to your criteria and how you're going to evaluate it. So as you see this barrage of new things in there, keep your filters up. Don't worry about the overload. Be in there with your filters to serve your market and help them solve problems.
Terry, when it comes to making a decision about which AI tools to focus on, thinking about the bottom line of your business as opposed to the top line, all part of your business. Tell me if this analogy works. Since you and I go way back, there was a time in the virtual event industry when it was not true that all the basic features were in all the platforms, right? Placeware, WebEx, NetPodium. I mean, there's some old platforms and they were very
Mm-hmm.
different, right?
Yes.
We think, oh, every webinar platform has a polling tool. Well, there was a time when that was not true. So to me, if that's an analogy, that's where AI is at. There's a stark difference between tools. And I guess my question to you is, would you agree or disagree with the idea of maybe not signing up for long-term contracts so that you can be nimble as you make new discoveries as you go?
Absolutely. I think what you've got to do is you wouldn't want to sign up for a 300-year contract. Not a good idea. And really, a year is a stretch. but I think a year is a reasonable one when you find something that's good, because they are changing all the time. But keep your eyes and ears open for something new. You don't want to go, oh no, I'm not going to pay attention to this thing called the internet. I've been using Selectric typewriters for a long time. No, you're going to miss out. I learned that from watching clients that did those kind of things. And what you want to do is you want to be able to say, I'm open to it, but again, get those filters up that are right for you, that you know, okay, this one looks reasonable. This one I'm going to pay attention to. This one is not for me. It's a C plus. And I've used that kind of criteria to help decide a lot of things in life. Do I want to watch this TV show? Do I want to listen to this? Do I want to read this book? If you have your filters, you're going to live a life that's got a lot more rich value and better quality.
Terry, I know you have a lot of experience with live streaming. Just curious, do you approach live or real-time content differently than the way you approach, content that you're creating for on-demand consumption?
Oh yeah, there's some different procedures, different mindset, and I love both. It's not either or. I think it's both and. And I've been doing live stream. We do that every week. My partner and fiance Gina Carr and I do our Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, and we have our meeting every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time. Shameless plug there, and it's free and open to the public, so you can come in and see that. But we do that live streaming, and there's an energy to it. There's also a little bit of nervousness too when you're live and there's an oh whoops that happens. Ooh, what are we going to do? You got to adapt to it and adjust right there. And we've had that. We've had times when it didn't work. And matter of fact, Roger, you and I, just as we're recording in all candor, something went oh whoops, and I think it might have been my internet access wasn't quite there. We shifted over and adjusted. You've got to be able to do that and be able to say, okay, let's try this, let's try that. And I think that what we want to do is we want to be able to look at those various tools, see how we can use them, see what's going to work right. And I like the live streaming. There's an energy to it. Even though it's a little more dangerous, there's an excitement, there's an energy when you have the streams coming across, like we do on eCam, when you'll get a comment from someone who's watching you on Facebook, and then another one that's watching you on LinkedIn. Somebody else might be watching you on Twitter, and you see it coming in there and you go, hey, that's a good comment. Hey, Bob over here on Twitter said da da da. That's really good. Yeah, and look what Rose said over here on LinkedIn. Very good point. There's an energy to that that is really valuable. It's very good. But there's also a place for the on demand. So you can go back and you can put in the nice B-roll. You can bring in a script, or you can put something over your shoulder here as a graphic that accentuates what you're talking about. You're talking about blue widgets. Well, you put a blue widget over your shoulder here and people get a chance to see it. You're also helping people more that way who learn better visually. Some learn better audibly, some kinesthetically by what they touch and do. So you want to be able to blend those elements in. Even using a medium like video here, you can blend in a lot of different kinds of doing it the right way. I think it's fun doing both. And I think on content creators, I'm talking to you content creators out there right now, you want to be able to try to bring in a lot of those that are right for you. The streaming has a dynamism to it. I'll get the word right there, dynamism, that's really, really good. You want to play into that, but also recording is really good. So you have something that's a little more long term. I'm watching those who are doing very well on YouTube right now. And there are people that produce instant content. Here's what's going on. They're kind of like a news station
Mhm.
on YouTube, and they're saying, here's live coverage, or here's my thoughts on such and such news item that just happened. Oh, okay. I like the way this person thinks. I want to hear what she has to say about that current event. But then there's a rich source on YouTube. I just love them, of the evergreen videos, where someone's saying, these are the 3 principles that help you to become a better person, or to manage the ebb and flow of information better. Something that you can use now, you could probably use 10 years from now. And I think those kind of contents is something that we want to look at. And then, of course, there's other forms too, not to mention the short forms that are very popular right now with YouTube Shorts, with TikTok, with Reels, things like that that are out there. And we're not here to go into all the details of how to use them, but they are good. And I want you to, content creators, put that in the back of your mind. You want to be open to find what's going to help solve the needs, solve the problems of your target market. If you do it that way and you're solving those needs, you're going to do all right.
One of my best friends and business partners passed away a few years ago, but his whole specialty was like corporate product management. And he used to just boil it down. I heard him say this in more meetings than I can count. What problem do you solve for whom? And what are they willing to pay for it?
Bingo.
Sums up a whole lot right there.
That sums up. Said that thing kind of like that when I was in business school a lot. That's the key you wanted to have. What problem are you solving for whom? And it's something that is affordable to them, but profitable to you. Because if it's not profitable for you, hey, guess what? You're on the street. That's called reality. But if it's too expensive and they can't afford it, well, they're not going to be buying it. So you got to constantly work at that. And that's where technology comes in. Because the technology can let you do this much. Actually, my hands are off the screen now, Roger. Notice you can do this much with this much resources or time. So the more you can do that, leveraging the technology, the better off you'll be.
Shifting from content creation to, and we've already started to go there, like content promotion or amplification and monetization. I know there's a number of ways to think about marketing. I'm going to use that in a very broad sense. So let's tee up a couple thoughts with regard to how to use AI with regard to the kinds of promotional activities. And let me start with just something that's obvious. One of the things in your email signature was created by, and I don't remember the name of the tool. Tell me how you use AI when you're like creating things for even one-on-one communication.
In a number of different ways. I'm using the tool that I use there is called Text Expander, which is kind of AI-ish. Is that a term? AI-ish? I'll make
It
it up.
is
We'll
now.
pretend. We'll pretend that it's a word. AI-ish, and what it does is it takes a few, like something if I'm going to put in a closing, thank you for being here. I'm Terry. Here's my phone number. Here's my website. Here's how to reach me. Those kind of things. Rather than retyping that every time, what you can do is get a tool like Text Expander. That's one I've been using since, oh, gee, I guess 2015 or so. And you put in just a couple of characters, and then it triggers a response on it to pop in that phrase. So, for instance, I might put in semicolon TB close, CLOSE. I would probably never put those characters together in real typing. But when I type that on the keyboard and I'm running Expander, it looks at that and it goes, oh, Terry means it for us to put in all of these text and pictures. So they all go in there very nicely. And you think, oh, that opens up a world of possibilities. So you can respond with common phrases you're using over and over, and you can put those in that way. That's one tool that I find really, really helps a lot for that. Another one I would say is using Loom. I use Loom a lot, which is a video that I'm sure you know about Loom, right, Roger?
No,
Oh, I'm
bring it,
sorry.
brother.
Loom is a great little tool where you can send an email video. So you send a video right in email, people would see it, and it gives you the ability to even create a GIF file. And by the way, that's how it's pronounced, GIF. And so you put that in there, and it's got you moving around in your email. When they click on it, it plays a customized video email that you made for them very quickly and very easily. The AI comes in and gives you a nice transcription within a matter of just a few minutes after you've done it. Really nice. And it gives you tracking and some other nice features as well. What you want to do is you want to make sure you use these tools, the AI tools, to really help others. I think it's kind of like, reminds me of something that's in the Four Seasons training manual. When they're training their employees, they say you should systemize the normal. I think they use a different word, systemize the normal so that you can humanize the exceptional. Or systemize the predictable. That's it. Systemize the predictable so you can humanize the exceptional. Systematize, make AI do all this stuff that you know is predictable. You can do it. So that way, when there's an oh whoops and something goes wrong, you can be right there and say, I want to help you on this. We're going to do this for you. Let's get this cleaned up. Let's do this. Let's get it done right. And I think as you have those systems in place, systems is a key word, then you're going to be able to tap into AI and more. And really, when you think about it, AI is a bunch of systems. It's a bunch of things you're saying, do this and this and this, and start thinking about this over here. And it starts mulling it around in its computer brain. I'm going to use those terms very loosely, computer brain, and it comes up with what can be done to satisfy the need and take care of it. And the more you can do that for your customers, and you systemize those predictable occurrences in your business, and you can then humanize the virtual, the better off you're going to be in business.
Terry, how might one use AI to do market research or stay up to date on current trends within whatever space someone is serving?
One thing I would do is I would probably lean toward Perplexity versus ChatGPT, at least ChatGPT in the raw, because ChatGPT, as we're recording this, is only updated to September of 2021. So it got a little gap. I went on ChatGPT and typed in, just because I knew it wasn't going to work, what is the temperature in Orlando, Florida, where I was? What is the temperature? Like a Google search, not a big deal. And it came back and said, the National Weather Service will have information for that for you that you can find. And weather in Orlando can be this in the summer. And then, I don't, that's not what I wanted to know. But that's what ChatGPT does. However, I went to Perplexity and it said, oh, the temperature is currently here. Expect a low tonight of this, and you're going to get showers tomorrow or whatever. And so you want to make sure that you're using something that's current. I would want to then do the research to find out, what are people who are in my market looking for right now? Let's say, for instance, well, you and I are professional speakers. Let's say I'm thinking, what are meeting planners in the content creation area looking for right now for speakers in Portland, Oregon for next year, second quarter? Okay, I'm getting real specific on that. So then it can go out and look around to find out, what are they looking for there? What areas are they saying, hey, we want a speaker to come in and do this for us? Hey, that Roger Corville, he's right here in that area. He's doing that. Although I hear he's moving up to Tacoma. So hey, we're going to get him to help us out on that too. In the Seattle and whatever, in that 360 or 206 area code up in there, we're going to be able to make this sparkle and shine. We want him to come in and do that. So what you want to do is think in terms of, what are buyers looking for right now? What areas are they feeling pain with? And you want to do the research. The more that you as a content creator can come up with content that says, this solves your problem. Here's something you were wondering about this. Here's your answer. The more you can do that, the better you're going to be. And you really need AI for the research on that, to go out there and do it. I would also recommend using tools that are AI tools. Like I mentioned, TubeBuddy, that I use on YouTube. It works really well. TubeBuddy is a program that does that. There's others called SEM Rush that gives you the ability to find what people are looking for. Href is another one, the letter H as in hotel, and REF. You can use that. There's Uber Suggest is another one. There's a lot of tools out there. And rather than get inundated with, oh my goodness, which one should I use? Find something that works for you and use that to find out what your market is looking for right now. What's the pain that they're going through, and find out how to solve it. Particularly as we're recording this right now, we're getting geared up for an election year next year. Oh boy, oh joy. All the controversy that's going to be on with that, with whoever it is that's running. You want to be able to be on the pulse of what's going on and how that affects your market. How is that going to affect the people that are in your area? As you do that and use AI, it can help you a lot, and you'll actually get a competitive advantage by doing that.
Talk to me about monetization. Is there any particular place where you think content entrepreneurs tend to overlook routinely?
I think that we can overlook in many different areas. And I think one of the keys is we think we are done when we've got our content already out there. I did my YouTube post, I put it out there. Boy, that video looks really great. And I like what I did there at 1 minute with that B-roll. Did you see that? Well, that's really nice, Sparky, but we got to do a whole lot more than that. We got to look at, okay, what is it that's going to actually pay the bills? And the way you pay the bills is you always got to think in terms of, what can we do to help people understand we can solve their problems? For many people, me particularly, I go toward meeting planners and people who are looking for that. So I'm not looking at getting 100 bazillion, I think that's the exact number, 100 bazillion views. Although if they do it, that's great too, or subscribers. What I want to do is find the people that are saying, hey, that's really good. Terry can come and speak to our group. We want him to come in and consult with us, coach with us on AI, on marketing, what he thinks about this. And that's going to be worth it to us, because we're going to give him $1 and he's going to give us $10 back. And you think, okay, if you can do that for your clients, you take $1 from them in value, and then you give them something that's going to generate $10 for them, you will do well. So I think what we've got to overlook is not being so focused on the content. As a matter of fact, one of the things that Joe Polizzi talked about, content creators, you don't necessarily have to be an entrepreneur to be a content creator. You might work for someone else and your job is to create the video. You don't get out there and sell. You're not doing, although your video is selling, it should, but you've got that. So what you want to do is, as a content entrepreneur, you're coming up with ways that you can have content that is going to turn into money. When you're writing a text, say you write a text on Medium, put something at the bottom so that people like that, they can go and get involved with you, a lead magnet. That if they click on this, then they get some extra goodies from you. They get a chance to check you out a little bit more. And then as they go through that customer journey and they get a chance to know you more and they realize, hey, you could solve this problem for me with that new course you've got, with that new product that you've got, with some consulting. You want to have your ears alert, your entrepreneur ears alert to that, to find out where can you help them. Put that in there in a professional way, not in a crass way. We've seen too many people do that, where it's bugging people, and you don't sell a lot when you're bugging people. You want to give them value. They like it, and they go, hey, I like that Roger Corville guy. I know he's good. I know he does this. He could come in and run that meeting for our group. He could come in here and I could consult with him on this topic, and he would help me. This is the way you want to structure it, and always be thinking about that when you're working, creating your content, realizing the end result is monetization and being able to pay the bills.
Good point that I'm going to reflect back to you to make sure that I understood, if I'm kind of paraphrasing at least one part of what you just said. Maybe it was within the context of your own personal audience of like meeting planners who may hire you as a speaker. You don't need 1 million views. You just need to get one person excited, who is the person that's going to do what it is that take the action that you hope for them to take. I've got one final question for you, but before we get there, tell me a little about Stark Raving Entrepreneurs. What you got cooking there?
We got some nice things cooking, as I mentioned, every Wednesday at 4 p.m. Eastern Time, of course, 1 p.m. Pacific. We have guests come on who are really incredible. Roger, you know some of the great speakers we have at the National Speakers Association. And I consider myself fortunate enough to be in groups where I know these people who are in the Hall of Fame. I know them, they're my buddies. We can get them to come on and really give top quality, best of the world, literally, kind of information on building business. And so if you want to come over and check that out, go over to starkravingevent.com. You can register for free, and there's no charge. Do that. And also, I have a little gift I wanted to give people today that can help them a lot. It's a gift that we put together showing you how to use tools like ChatGPT and other tools, images, being able to use audio, doing amazing things for content. And you just go to AIToolsForBiz.com, all in lowercase and the number 4. AI tools, the number 4, biz.com. That way you can get the information. There's no charge, and we are updating this regularly on what's going on, new tools, new AI tools. There might be some there that you go, oh, yeah, I know about that one. There might be others you go, I didn't know we could do that. You can go over there, give it a shot, see what happens. And if you make some money on it, hey, that's good. That's what we want to do. Entrepreneur, we want to help build your business.
StarkRavingEntrepreneurs.com. Stark Raving Event, singular or plural?
Singular. Yeah, StarkRavingEvent.com. Get you registered for the weekly Wednesday event so you can check us out a little bit and get some good information you can use.
And AI Tools for alphanumeric 4 biz.com. That's where you can find Terry and partner. Did I hear also now fiance?
Yes, that is correct. And we get a chance to have a lot of learning, and I feel very lucky to have her in my life. It's fun working together and being in a relationship together. There's a whole dynamic. We've done some podcasts on that and been interviewed by others, and it's fun doing that. But it also takes some extra skills and some extra things to say, okay, you're going to do this, and I'm going to do this. This is a yours, mine, and ours. You need those 3 silos. And if you have that, we find you tend to do a little bit better.
Let me put an exclamation point behind that, because Gene is a sharp cookie too. But what Terry just said about Stark Raving Entrepreneurs having guests that are, my words, not his, freaking world class. Terry knows a lot of really freaking world class people, and it's really, you really should actually check that out at Stark Raving Entrepreneurs, StarkRavingEvent.com. Terry, here's my final question for you. What question should I have asked you that I haven't?
Terry, how did you get such good looks and such a great haircut? But we just through time we do that kind of thing. But seriously, I think you did it, and really well. And I love what you're doing, Roger. You're helping people in V2 here to get a lot of good information, what they see. And for those of you that are experiencing this right now, you're watching it or you're listening to it, however you're choosing to consume it. There's a lot of opportunities available. Get into AI, study it, learn it. A great way to do that, of course, for many of us is the University of YouTube. Go over there. You're going to see a lot of good that's there. There's going to be some that you go, ooh, that's not quite right. That's okay. The price isn't too bad. Okay. You can go there. You can see a lot. Keep learning. And if we can help you out on something, by all means, come by. We got a lot of information so you can get a chance to know us and help something to build your own business. And stay in touch with this guy over here. He really knows what he's talking about as he's putting it together. I've known Roger for a long time, and he is one guy. Not only does he have great information for business, but one-on-one, when the cameras are not rolling, we're not recording, he's still the same genuine, wonderful guy that you see here on this medium. So get to know this wonderful guy.
And with that final line of baloney, again, thank you. Virtual round of applause to Terry Brock, whom you can find at starkravingentrepreneurs.com. And thank you again to our sponsor today, virtualvenues.com, where you can instantly scale your virtual and hybrid event production team. We'll catch you on the next episode of Thought Leader Conversations.